Who was your biggest influence your freshman year?
Freshman year? That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
For me, freshman year, it was probably Brother Mike.
It would have to be Lee.
Lee.
Absolutely. The way that everyone kind of just respected him, he was always making people laugh. The way that he just kind of felt like he was very close with everyone. Everyone kind of went to him to look for advice and look for, they need help with something. They just go to him and he'd be more than willing to help them. And I looked at it, I was like, you know what? This is probably who I want to work towards becoming.
My freshman year, what I was focused on more than anything was, the journey to trying to be a doctor. So, and from a lot of my life was my uncle.
My freshman year, I was not at Louisiana Tech. I was at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville with the Razorbacks. I transferred here at the end of my sophomore year. My voice professor there, his name was Dr. Eddie Jones, and he was one of the best men I have ever known. It was studying with Dr. Eddie Jones that I knew that it was exactly what I wanted to do, because he was the kind of teacher and professor I wanted to be.
Nikki. And Sam and Dave. My older brother and his girlfriend. For freshmen that don't know them, I guess.
For sure was my sister. I mean, she's the whole reason that I came to Tech in the first place. And then, but on top of that, like, her relationships with the people here really inspired me to have the same kind of relationship. Watching her was why I loved Axe and why I still love Axe.
It'd probably be Becca Didier. She just really helped me outside of Axe kind of freshman year. There's a lot of relationship stuff going on my freshman year, and so she helped me through that a lot. And then we were prayer partners for Spring Retreat, which was just like icing on the cake. We just connected really well, and she was like a big sister to me.
My biggest influence clearly was Ross, probably because he's a huge reason that I came to Tech and a huge reason that I came around by Axe. Had it not been for him, I probably wouldn't have come around at all, but he kept dragging me here and making me come, and eventually I ended up staying here and finding a home.
I tried to be myself too much. Like I tried to be too strong for myself, and so I think that like I influenced myself more than anything, and it wasn't for the best. So as weird as this sounds, myself.
All those like engineering like older guys like Lee and like
Brandon.
Yeah. Just because like like in high school you have a bad day, you go home, like because you go home every day. And for the first time I found myself having bad days and not wanting to go and like completely introvert, but wanting to like go and like talk to someone to bring myself in a happier place instead of just like always just going to my own little world.
Who's your biggest influence now?
Oh, that's Hunter Boudreaux. He'd kill me if I said anything else. Hi, Hunter. It's really Ross.
For me, Emily is still a really big influence because she's my best friend and the love of my life. And Brother Mike still has a very key influence. Getting to work with him on Spring Retreat, it's great because I kind of missed it, actually. Don't tell him that, even though he's going to see this video.
I'd have to go with Brother Mike, because he's given me a ton of opportunities to be able to experiment and explore in the wonderful realm of liturgical music.
Probably Brother Mike, and then like my really close friends like Rebecca and Andrew and Adam.
The holy trio, Nikki, Mitch, and Kristen, because when I first hang around Axe, like they're always here. And I saw them a lot, and I was like, I wish I had friends like that, because they were always together. They always were there for each other, and it's a good friendship. It's a great friendship, and I have been since lucky enough to be sort of integrated into that friendship. It's one of the biggest, healthiest friendships I've seen, and it's a great model.
My mom's always been a big influence in my life, but like the people of Axe are probably the biggest influence on me right now, especially my roommate.
Leadership team, like those people were my biggest influence because and just coming off from that, like I think a year ago I would have said like the retreat team or the people I was working with for Freshman Crossing or whatever team I'm trying to work on because those are the people who you go to for, like, do you think I'm doing this right? Like, especially when you're working for other people.
Our close-knit friend group, that's all that comes to mind, Kyle and Hunter, and Jordan and Emily, but mainly Kyle and Hunter. I can talk to both of them about everything.
Well, obviously Father Frank, since he kind of does what I would like to do one day. Just around here, various people who, I guess, push me to be a better person when I'm not. Like, if I'm really grouchy or say something that's not that great, it'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe you should work on that. Or so just various people in different ways, but I can't pinpoint a specific person.
It's so many more people at Axe because I know so many people much better now. And so you see the light in so many different people. And so in the Axe community, like, I think each person has an attribute that you really look up to and that you want to role model yourself after. Even this person that you're like, let's say you didn't like them, you would still be like, but they do this really great, and I wish I did that as well.
You know, it's really hard to find an influence that I can specify out right now because I've taken all these different influences throughout the years and kind of combined them down into my own sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of my own thing now. I really don't particularly have something that I look forward as just, this is who I want to be. It's just who I am now.
It's a tough question because, I mean, as a freshman, it was like blatantly obvious. I just did whatever Sam, Dave, or Nikki did. But now I do a lot more of my own thing. I've, gotten into my own major and what I'm doing with my life. And so it's hard to pick out just one, or a few people to say that these people have influenced me the most now.
Can I say myself as an answer?
I mean, what does that even mean? How can you be your biggest influence?
No, I think it's a legitimate thing. It's like you come in and, like I said, Ross was my influence coming in. And, he kind of helped show me around. But after a while, I feel like you kind of, in a way, become your own biggest influence because you figure out who you are. When you kind of start figuring things out on your own. And you're not afraid to help people and ask questions along the way. But, I feel like by the end of college, you really grow to the point where you can make your own decisions and kind of be your own biggest influence.
I know so many people, why would I try to be just one of them?
Yeah.
And so you kind of are like, okay, all these people are great, but I can be all these people at once. Like,
Yeah.
I can do this. I can be as cool as they are.
Isn't there a saying that's like, you are like the combination of all the people you know, kind of like you
Yeah.
take all these attributes from everyone you know.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Not exact.
I don't know if there's a saying for it, but there should be.
What was your biggest fear your freshman year?
Failing at everything.
Not fitting in, or being rejected, either or, because that was a lot of the reason why I wasn't so frequent here, is that I was so focused on, just trying to make sure I got off to a good start in school that I didn't really spend much time here. I think all I did my freshman year was basically intramural sports. So, after going to the retreat and then starting to come here more often, it was a much better experience.
For me, I'd guess it'd be getting over a relationship. Yeah, it was a rough freshman year. It's funny, that was very stressful freshman year, but now it's just funny and not really important.
Not being in ROTC, which happened after my first quarter. So my biggest fear came true, and then, and that was really bad for a while, but then I figured it out, and I got really involved here, and that kind of helped with that. Well, it really helped with that.
Failure. Definitely. But I mean, that's always a fear. So I guess specifically freshman year would be failure to move away, failure to not acclimate to a college setting,
Not finding the right friends, not being the right person. You have this chance to come in and you can be whatever you want, and it's kind of overwhelming. But then I think I realized that you don't have to be a certain stereotype.
One of my biggest fears was that I wasn't gonna like my major and I wasn't gonna figure out what I wanted to do until it was too late. and that came true. It was really hard, and my entire freshman year I was just worried because everything I tried, it seemed like I was coming up short. I was hitting a dead end every time. I changed my major every day. I'd be like, okay, let me Google search these things and like come up with some major, and then I'd find like, oh, we don't have that here, and they'd be like, all right, well, it's either move to Texas or figure it out here, and so I stayed.
Not fitting in. The first few times I came around Axe, I kind of came around like, again with Ross as just like a friend of his, and it was really hard to make that transition, kind of being overwhelmed with the number of people around here, from being Ross's friend to kind of finding my own friends and making my own friends. And that's a huge thing that sometimes we do at Axes. We get so comfortable that whenever outsiders come in, it's very hard for us to extend a hand to them and welcome them in and make them feel at home.
I had a different experience than you did. Like, I came with knowing, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep all these friends, like all my friends from high school will still be great. No, that didn't happen. And like, I still like my friends. It was like everybody would promise like, oh, I'm gonna come visit, I'm gonna come visit, I'm gonna come visit, like I'm gonna make a road trip, we're all gonna come.
Yeah.
And then they never do.
Yeah.
So freshmen, beware, your friends are not gonna come.
And you like feel bad about it because you're like, oh, if I texted them more or whatever, but then you're like, wait a minute, phones work 2 ways.
Exactly. It's like, maybe if I texted them more, maybe if I went home more, maybe if I did all these things, and it's like, there's nothing you can do sometimes. Like, sometimes things just fizzle out, and that's okay.
I came from a town of 1,000 people to Reston, which was gigantic, and I was still deeply, deeply in the closet when I got here freshman year, so finding friends, people finding out that about me, and the religion I was in previously, just stuff with that was probably my biggest fear until October, when I actually did work up the nerve to be true to myself and discover who I was.
Yeah, I was worried as a freshman that basically I was starting something new, and that meant that it was ending everything else. Like, everything I'd done in high school was now over, and those people were like, I was never going to see them again. And that's not true at all, because I kept in touch with a lot of them, and you know, half of them are here now, and so, and I made new friends, and that was important too. I didn't have to be afraid that by like moving on somewhere else and making new friends was like cutting ties with my old friends.
My biggest fear was creating an entirely new circle of friends. And it had taken me about like the 4 years of high school to build a circle of friends I had there.
Oftentimes, our fears come true and they're not as bad as you think. What is your biggest fear now?
The real world.
The real world.
Failing at everything.
Not knowing what we're doing after college.
I'm 100% terrified
Yep.
of everything.
It's nothing that we've known before.
We try not to talk about it. It's really scary.
I don't want a job that I hate.
Trying to find the right path and getting it wrong.
I'm afraid of wasting too much time.
I know what's going to happen, but there's going to be a lot of change.
It's this big unknown thing.
I feel like I can't guess anymore.
No one can tell you what the right answer is.
Something that I haven't seen before, so I'm not really scared of it. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not scared of it.
What if this sucks too?
What I want to do is I want to be a music director at a church, preferably a Catholic church, and my biggest fear is that I would be denied employment based on my sexuality, rather than my ability to perform the duties of a musical director. I want to say how much I love and appreciate the Axe community. Partly because it allows me to participate in the way that I do participate. So, I am gay, and I'm sure most of you know that, and if some of you didn't, you do now. It was not anything hidden, and still I was nominated to and elected onto the Axe leadership team, and I have been leading the choir for church for this past 2 years, and never, not once, has anyone questioned my ability to do so based on my sexuality, and that has been a fear wandering in the back of my mind. And it has never, ever once come to fruition, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that and how much hope and strength it gives me for other Catholic communities and just around the world.
What is your biggest regret?
I've already answered it. Not coming to act sooner.
Not coming to act sooner.
Well, I can't say that I have any regrets. Not just because, oh yeah, I get tattooed no regrets on my chest. Not any of that, but every single thing I've done, every single decision I made, every choice I've done, every time I decided to skip a class and do something else, every single one of those times has made me who I am now. And one of the things I've definitely learned over the years is you've got to take into account what you have right now. Because you can, if this, if that, maybe this, maybe that, you don't know.
Not learning and meeting my classmates. I had ACTS, and so freshman and sophomore year, I lived at ACTS. Like, pretty much all my activities revolved, there we go, around ACTS and what was going on. And they were a great influence, and I loved it. But I did miss out on kind of just hanging out with my classmates.
I don't really know my class. I know a few people, but like my senior design group knows almost everybody in the class, and I know who they are, I just don't know them.
I guess early on, grades were kind of so important, and I stressed out so much about them that I kind of forgot to have fun initially. And a little bit of growing is learning how to balance the schoolwork with fun. And now looking back, you know, there are classes that I probably could have gotten an A instead of a B in, and I probably would have gotten an A if I'd have buckled down a lot more and just been more reserved, done my own thing. But then you kind of look at the fun times you have, and you know, you wouldn't trade those memories that you made for anything. And so, yeah, grades are very important. Worry about them, but also do not forget to make memories and have fun with people.
Probably cutting off communications with certain people that I should have tried to be more friendly towards or more willing to keep an open dialogue with when things got tough, or I just stopped talking to them completely.
Not finding my, like, personal hobby sooner. Something that I could do on my own as a hobby.
For serious, my biggest regret probably would be not doing my own things sooner. I hate to admit it, but Audrey was kind of right that when Nikki graduated, it was probably good for us because it means that I couldn't just do what Nikki does all the time.
Best friend and codependency are different.
Yes. She's still my best friend, but
True.
I spent a lot of my college just, you know, doing what Nikki does or just doing what Sam and Dave tell me to do and stuff like that. And I didn't try really hard to be my own person.
Not having a backup plan in the beginning for if I wasn't going to be in ROTC, because for 2 quarters I was completely and utterly lost and had no clue what to do with my life.
What would be like the most obvious would be like my time as an engineer, but surprisingly, like I don't really regret that at all. Like I learned so much about who I was. I needed to be more true to myself because I knew pretty early in that I was like, what am I doing? So I think it's not the time as an engineer and the time I spent, but more so the time that I was in self-denial.
Putting so much emphasis on romantic relationships freshman year, I should not have worried as much because obviously now I just joke about it. It's not really that important. I don't regret going through them, but they didn't need to be as important as I made them. I needed to focus more on myself.
Like, every bit of drama was like that. It was just drama, and I guess I wish I would have realized that, like, if I could have seen myself now, back then, like, half this stuff, like, doesn't even matter, you know, like, you're not even gonna remember it past, like, next week. Like, why are you letting it ruin your life? Like, why are you, like, drowning in it?
Is to love yourself. It's taken me 6 or 7 years to really learn how to love myself again. When my parents got a divorce, it was like I had shut everyone out and everything out, and it was legitimately coming to ACTS that saved me.
It's okay to be your introverted self and go have your introverted time, and that it's not gonna make your true friends any less of your friends because you're not spending every minute with them.
Don't take your friends for granted. Like, let them be an important part of your life. Let them be an important influence in your life. Because my friends have changed my life throughout college, and I'm so thankful for that. And I hope that everybody makes good, solid friendships and relationships in college.
Find people who want you to be you just for you. Because, like, I'm friends with people who I wouldn't be friends with if I wasn't here, you know? Like, open yourself up to other people, but don't let them define what you should be like.
Life does get better from high school, because my life's totally different now than I expected it to be then. And that there are people out there who do care and do have concern, and there are people out there you will get along with and become friends with. And that you will not just be completely isolated, always. And that things do get better.
It's okay to fail.
It's okay to change your mind. And it's okay to not know what you're changing your mind to.
You should say no sometimes, because if you don't, then you're gonna literally drown.
I guess I wish I just would have known how many avenues there were in Acts, because like I said at the time, I was just focused, it's church, and then they've got intramural sports, I'll do that too, but I didn't realize that there were so many opportunities for just involvement in general, because I've also, through Acts, been involved in like being a Eucharistic minister to nursing homes, and so I wish I would have known that earlier to just come here and have been involved in that way as well.
I wish I could have been able to appreciate Louisiana Tech before having to be somewhere else first. I wish that I would have been able to consider it and see it for what it was, rather than having lived here my whole life and being it's just this place in Ruston, because it is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
And I also wish that I would have gotten more involved with my university sooner. I wish I had taken more advantage of the opportunities that we have here at this university, because once you graduate, you have to scrounge for these people in these communities, when we've had these all along, and I've just been like, oh, I don't feel like it. I'm just lazy. Didn't want to join another organization because I was here all the time, but it's good to branch out. It's good to meet other people and be around other people that aren't like you.
But I wish I would have kind of branched out and done different things. And it's not to take away from Acts. It's just to, you kind of look back and you see, man, I spent a lot of time here. I made a lot of friends, a lot of memories. And I'm kind of left with a wondering, how much would I have changed, or how different would I be if I had done a few more different things? You spend a lot of time at Acts. You need to bring that out into the world. Don't just keep it sheltered here and stay here all the time. Try to bring friends here. Try to get involved in other things and let other people know what we're doing here. And, that if they ever need support or anything, there's a family over here. And I kind of wish sometimes I wouldn't have gotten so caught up in the Acts experience. I forgot to bring it out to other people.
Wish I had known that the mirror opens in the girls' bathroom.
Sure, I'll start in just a minute.
Alright, that's sweet.
Okay, yeah.
Just jump on it. That'll think about right.
Let's give Andrew a solo. Let's just
No.
give him the first verse,
No,
and then we
it's
just
all
do it
good.
concert today, or?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Alright, you ready, Amy?
concert.
Okay. Are you videoing right now?
I'm sure she is.
Probably. Never stop filming. Okay. Let's start.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said so long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and sing together in the box, and now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.